Hi students, it's Mrs. Burkhart, and today I want to show you how to make this image from 3 separate JPEGs. You can find the Photoshop document with the JPEGs already loaded in your Google Classroom. So, to begin, let's go to our document with the JPEGs. And here it is. Here is the really roughly cut out laptop. And if I pull down my palettes, next is the girl climbing this, whatever it is she's climbing out of. And next is the manhole. And we need work to do on all of these JPEGs in order to put them together and make a believable, surreal image. So, the first thing we need to do is clean up the edge of our laptop. And to do that, make sure you're on the correct label. And often it's nice to label your layer so you know exactly what's there. So instead of layer 2, if I double click right on the name, I'm going to call that layer laptop. Next, go to the eraser tool, and we haven't used the eraser tool yet, and often I like to paint things out, but the eraser tool has some really nice qualities that we can explore, especially when we need a nice straight edge. Go up to your options and make sure the hardness is all the way to the right, because we don't want a feathered edge. This is a hard case and we want a nice crisp one. So to begin, we just chomp in just a little bit, get really close to the edge, hold down Shift, and on the other end get really close to the edge, and we get a nice straight line. Then just very carefully work our way around the corner. You can sort of click around it if you'd like, and then click close up next to the bottom of the case, hold down Shift and do the same thing, and you get another nice line. Much better than if you were to try to freehand, it would be wobbly. So I'm going to clean up this corner, then click, hold down Shift, and clean up that edge. Same thing here. There's a little teeny bit of white, so click, hold down Shift just before the turn and clean that up. Click on this edge, hold down Shift, get the top. That might be a little too much, so Command Z will undo just one stage. If you want to see back farther, remember you can always go to your history, the 3 dots on the right here. And now I'm going to click in, hold Shift. That's much better. Again, carefully go around the corner. Now the disadvantage to using the eraser is that when it's gone, it's gone. Unlike painting it out, when it's still there and you can go back and reveal it. I'm doing this side, and now I need to make my brush really small to get in here, and I might need to go closer. I can go up to my navigator or Command plus. If I hold down the Shift key, this allows me to use, you can see that little hand, the hand to navigate to where I'm trying to go. So remember, the left bracket makes your eraser very small, just like when you're using a brush. And there. Actually, that was a little too much, so I'm going to try it again. Sometimes I like to outline first and then go back. Not horrible. All right, much better than in the beginning. So the next thing, I can see a little cleanup in that corner, but you can be more careful when you're actually working on your own image. The next thing is to think about this woman. We need to cut her out, and to do that we're going to use a tool we haven't used before, but I think I want to get a little closer. So first, Command plus. There, that's much better. Now remember when we used the quick selection tool and the magic wand with baby hands? Well, we're going back to this area, but right above it, these are all called selection tools up to that line, is something called the magnetic lasso tool. And this is a really nice selection tool because it tries to snap or lie right along the edge of what you're trying to outline. So I'm going to just draw carefully around her and not worry if it's not perfect. I'll show you how to fix the edge later. You can hold down your mouse and draw along it, or you can also just click click, click, keep clicking around the edge. I like to try and draw, and I'm going to go down about to her knee and then up, and I don't think I want her other leg for now. Let's just get her shirt and continue on. You can see how the lasso tries to lie just along the edge. Sometimes along the fingers it helps. If you have a small area, just stop and click around it and then start drawing again and watch. The more confusing your background is, the more you might have to stop and click. There you go, and then keep going. See, it's following the edge of her hand. The contrast is good there. Wherever you have good contrast, it works a little better. And now I'm coming down. And when I get all the way around, let's go back to our history and get that back again. Let's go back. There we go. I click too much. Just click and get the little marching ants to show up. And if you do like I did and oh no, it went away, that's no problem. The selection is still there. I can go back to any point. When I was drawing around her, the end result is a nice selection. So let's get that to go. By the way, you click on the double arrows and we have a selection. Now this is the really cool part. Click Q on your keyboard and now you have a mask. And a mask is really, really helpful because now we're able to go to our brush and go Command plus and really fine tune our selection. And a brush is a little bit easier to handle than a lasso or any of the other tools because we can, just like we can when we're working in a layer mask, we can paint it. Now black will take away, and remember Command Z, and white will allow. And I went too far into her head here, so I need to go white and reveal it. And you can click the double arrow, or even faster, just hit X, and now it's white. And I'm going to go around. I think I would like a hard brush, and I have a hard brush. Oopsie. So let's make our brush smaller, left bracket, X. There we go. And I'm going to go around. X again, I want to reveal this, X. And I'm just going to clean up, spacebar, and go around, and I'm fine-tuning my selection. You'll see how this works in just a minute. X, now see I ate too much into her hand, so I'm going to take the red off. There we go. You'll get the hang of it. I just kind of keep my left hand on the X as I'm working. And if I need to go and do the opposite, work on an interior, I just hit X. There. Spacebar, scroll down. The rest of it really looks pretty good. I could get in here and clean that up, but for the time of this tutorial, I'm just showing you what to do. And then when you do your own, you can be much pickier and do a much better job than I am here. There's a little spot. So the cool thing is, now watch, when I click Q again, there, now the selection is back. And all I have to do is Command C, remember that's the copy command, and I have to also, I'm on the laptop, all I would be getting is a cutout of the blue screen. So let's make sure we're on the right layer. Command C, Command V. And what we have is a cutout of the blue. So Command Z, we're on the layer with the girl, and let's go Command minus minus. And let's copy it, Command C, and then Command V. There we go, that worked better. See, I have problems just like you do, and I have to go back and think, what layer am I on and what am I doing? Happens all the time. So now I have her, and do you remember from Baby Hands, if you go up to the selection tool and move her hover on the outside, turn her, hover a little more. We're trying to get her hands so they're believably right on the edge of that screen. And that's not horrible. When you get it, you can either hit return or check the check. Sometimes this box remains, and if you just go up and click on one of these marquee tools like the rectangular, notice how that goes away. Now for the last step, and this is on top. So remember, if you drag a layer underneath, now it's underneath her. But I'm actually going to turn the eye off on her layer because now it's time to size the manhole cover to our screen and make it look like that's really what's showing on the screen. So next, to bring up our transform controls, Command T, and then right click, distort. There's a lot of things to do in this tutorial, so take it slow. If you get lost, rewind and go back. Notice how I'm just dragging the corners. The cool thing about distort is you can move each corner independent of the others. There. And try and make sure there's no blue showing. Yours will be much more perfect, I'm sure. There we go. Don't want to overlap too much, but you want to make sure the blue is gone, and then check the check. Now if we turn her back on, not too bad. It's starting to look kind of believable, like maybe she's climbing out of that manhole. I notice when I see this though, and again, go to your move tool, that I need to move her down just a little bit and turn her slightly. Her hands were a little too high. You can use the arrows on your keypad too, which are nice because then you have so much more control. I'm clicking up, now I'm clicking down, and that seems much better. And always remember, check the check and then click up here and it'll make it go away. We are so close to being done. Let's go back now to our manhole layer, and now you want to, well, we can go back and label them all, but double click out to the right of the name and you'll bring up what are called layer styles, and these are super helpful for adding shadows, etc. But with this image, we want something called an inner shadow. You can increase the size and the distance just a little bit. This is the color, and then the blend mode I have multiply, so it adds it together. And just play, you might want to up the opacity a little. Next, I'd probably click on bevel and emboss. You need to check it and make sure it's blue and that you're on the bevel and emboss, just like inner shadow. So let's go to bevel and emboss, and I'm going to change the white to black, and let's just soften, just bevel that just a little teeny bit. You can see the bevel come up and the depth, so you could go really deep or just a little bit, and just play with that. You can lessen the opacity. Turn it off, and that's how it looks. You can see it just helps soften and make it look like that manhole cover really is on that screen. Well, we're almost done. The last thing is click on the very top layer and then go to your make a new layer icon right here and make a new layer right on the very top. Now we need to use a selection tool to contain our brush, so we're going back to the magic wand right here. Your tolerance by default, that's how picky the brush is, should be 32. And let's just try that. And I'm going to click inside the manhole cover, but I have to make sure now that I'm on the layer with the manhole cover for it to work. So I got the blue. I'm going to hold down Shift and add to it. And what I'm trying to do is just keep clicking until I have most of the information in here. To add and make that smoother, I'm going to go to my lasso, which is right above the magnetic lasso, and if I hold down Shift, can you see that little plus sign? That means that we're going to add, and I'm just drawing along the edge and making a circle here because this is the area I want to brush in. There you go. If I circle it, it gets added to my selection. And the last thing is to get a brush. This time we want a soft brush and we want a big brush, and we're just, see how if we